Many people, when watching those clips of Cristiano Ronaldo in the match against the Republic of Ireland, laughed, shook their heads, and said he was overreacting. After a missed shot, he urged the opposing goalkeeper to hurry up, shouting loudly in the middle of the pitch, repeatedly signaling to restart the game quickly. People asked, "What's the point of that? Is it really necessary to be that intense in just an ordinary match? Or is it just a way to draw attention, to prove that he still has the fire?" But honestly, anyone who has ever lived and fought hard for something knows, wanting isn't enough. Effort doesn't always bring immediate results. And perhaps, Ronaldo understands that better than anyone. In recent years, people have grown accustomed to seeing Ronaldo talking to himself on the pitch. Whenever a shot goes wide or a teammate misplaces a pass, he mutters something under his breath, his face full of frustration. Sometimes it's just a sigh. Sometimes just a few quiet words only he can hear. He's no longer that young man who used to throw his arms up to the sky. He's a 40-year-old man still having silent conversations with himself after every play. At an age when most players have chosen to live at ease, Ronaldo still holds on to the same mindset he's had since day one, always wanting more. Never feeling it's enough. People think that after all he's been through, he should play football for joy, to enjoy the glory he's spent 2 decades working so hard to achieve. But he refuses to stop. He still strives for perfection, still pushes himself to do better, even when no one expects that from him anymore. Some say it's stubbornness, an ego that doesn't know how to rest. But if you look closer, it's simply the way he survives. He chooses the hard path, chooses to stay strict with himself at an age when most have already let go. He knows that the moment he relaxes, he will no longer be himself. That's why he still steps onto the pitch with the same spirit as in his youth. Still ready to endure every doubtful gaze. And when others see his actions as excessive or absurd, he just smiles, because the very things people mock today are what will shape the Ronaldo of tomorrow. He's long been familiar with being doubted. Every time people question him, he responds in the only way he knows, by winning. No need for words, no explanations. Ronaldo chooses to silence the world with results. Every goal, every trophy, every time he lifts a cup, it's his answer to the scornful eyes. The mockery that once tried to tear him down has instead become the fuel that lifted him higher. Some laughed when he set the goal of becoming the first billionaire footballer, calling it a fantasy, yet that very doubt turned him into the first to reach that milestone. The sneers he's heard over the past 20 years have become the soundtrack to a journey of relentless effort and willpower that the world now takes as a lesson. Everyone calls Ronaldo a symbol of perseverance. But few understand that his perseverance wasn't built on praise. It was forged from criticism, from doubt, from eyes that wanted to see him fail. Those very things gave birth to an extraordinary will. The will of someone who doesn't strive just to prove others wrong, but to remind himself that he still can. And so, Ronaldo keeps fighting, against his opponents, against time, against the prejudices he's faced since he was a boy in Madeira. He fights to uphold the pride of his fans, so that whenever people speak of determination, his name comes to mind. In every match, every time he steps onto the field, we still see that familiar image. A man who refuses to stop, even when there's nothing left to prove. At 40, when many of his peers have quietly stepped away, Ronaldo still plays as if he's just signed his very first contract. He scores, roars, pounds his chest in celebration, then bows his head, telling himself to do even better next time. Every gesture is filled with emotion, never halfway. Some say it's all an act, but tell me, who could act like that for over 20 years without ever seeming forced? No, it's not acting, it's instinct, something that's been in his blood since the first time he chased a ball. In Ronaldo, both joy and anger are real, and it's that authenticity that keeps his fire burning bright. Though 40 years have passed in his life, Cristiano Ronaldo was born into a world that never gave him anything for free. From a poor boy in Madeira who was teased by his friends, to a young player in Manchester laughed at by his teammates for training too hard, every time he was doubted. He never responded with words, only with goals. At Real Madrid, they called him selfish. Then he led the club to the top of Europe 4 times in 5 seasons. At Juventus, they said he was past his prime, yet he finished the season as Serie A's top scorer and countless times dragged the old lady from hell to heaven. Like that unforgettable hat-trick against Atletico Madrid, when he moved to Al Nassr. They said he went there to relax, but he turned himself into the most feared striker in the league. And then there's the Portugal national team, the place he's always called his true home. Many thought he would retire after Euro 2024, but he said that if possible, he wanted to wear the national shirt forever. Some laughed, saying he was greedy, that he was taking the spot of the younger generation. But in many matches, when the young players stayed silent, he was the one who showed up. He scored. He saved the team from defeat. Take the recent match against Hungary as a perfect example. Portugal were trailing, and it was Ronaldo who rescued them with 2 world-class goals before leaving the pitch in the 77th minute. After he was substituted, Portugal came under even more pressure, because Hungary knew their most dangerous opponent was no longer on the field. So there was no need to sit back and defend anymore. They went all out in attack. And so, Dominik Szoboszlai scored a precious goal in the 90-plus first minute, costing Portugal an early ticket to the World Cup. In that moment, people couldn't help but wonder, if Ronaldo had still been on the pitch, would Hungary have dared to push forward in search of an equalizer like that? That's why when we see him frown, talk to himself, or get angry on the field, people may criticize him, but those strange actions are exactly what keep him feeling immortal. They are the fire that never lets him settle. That makes him irreplaceable. The match against Ireland was just a small glimpse of that entire journey. A missed shot, a shout, a flash of anger, to most people, that's failure. But to him, it's a reminder that he still hungers, still wants more. And as long as a person still wants more, it means they haven't stopped yet. Most people fear failure because they're afraid of being laughed at. But Ronaldo treats that laughter like a familiar soundtrack, something he's heard so often it no longer stings. Even fuels him instead. From being mocked as a drama king, to being called an old man who won't retire. He's always done the same thing, proving himself in the next game. If one day Ronaldo becomes more restrained, more measured, less expressive, perhaps he would lose the very thing that makes him unique. Because it's the intensity in everything he does, in the way he lives and plays, that forms the essence of who he is. If he ever stopped showing emotion, maybe football would be quieter, fewer arguments, fewer endless debates about him. But the world would also lose a figure who makes people care, discuss, love, or hate. Ronaldo exists not only because of the world-class goals he scores but because he moves the emotions of the entire world. He still scores, still leads, still commands fear from defenders with just a look. No matter where, Manchester, Madrid, Turin, or Riyadh, his name alone is enough to make opponents uneasy. More importantly, whether people like him or not, they must nod in recognition. No one can replace him. Another player might score more goals, might be younger, but none can ignite the same raw emotion Ronaldo brings. Cristiano Ronaldo has never been perfect. He's quick-tempered, easily offended, sometimes overly reactive. But that's exactly what makes him real, true to himself and to the emotions that live inside every one of us. That authenticity isn't polished by image or media. It's something that bursts out naturally from the instinct of a man who always wants more than what others consider enough. He makes people see a part of themselves in him, the frustration of not being trusted, the burning desire to prove something even when no one expects it. We may never achieve even a fraction of his success, but we can all understand what he represents. If you still want to move forward, if you still refuse to stop, then no one has the right to say your journey is over. Ronaldo doesn't need to say it with words. He speaks through every run, every shot, every glance after scoring, the look of a man who still believes he can be better, even when the world thinks he reached his limit long ago.